G'day, Internet. It's been too long since I've posted anything. I missed ya, and I'm here to catch you up on what I've been doing with this car. I have a lot of footage of things that I've done, but I haven't edited any of it, and we're going to fix that right now, and I'm going to throw it all together today for you in a smorgasbord of RX7 content. So, first thing, I pretty much totally wrapped up this fender. I'm starting to realize that pizza boxes are a core player in my process. Intermission. Eye protection is important. So on Sunday, I was grinding things on the car, and there was just steel and rust and dirt flying everywhere, and I got kind of desensitized to the fact that you need to wear eye protection. And I was using the face shield, but even that, like, things can still go around the face shield. So my left eye has been seriously screwed up ever since Sunday, and it's now Wednesday. I think it's on the mend now, but yesterday was, I still worked, but most of the day I wasn't able to see the computer screen, and I wasn't able to drive, especially whenever it's bright out and your eye wants to tear up even more. Yeah, don't get shit in your eye. Not screwing around. We got two new types of eyeglasses. We're gonna have these just all over the place. So anytime I need them, I'll just grab them so I can continue to have eyes. Now this right here is the face of a winner. I just got back from the eye doctor, and she pulled a piece of steel out of my eye with tweezers. And yeah, I'm squinting so much right now because I'm outside. Yeah, eye protection, important. You don't want to be getting steel lodged in your eyeball. Oh god, it's so bright. Trying something new. Man, this stuff's interesting looking. It's very coppery. It almost looks like a fine layer of anti-seize, for real. But the idea with this is that you can weld straight through it. So you can put it down on your seams, or like before you weld things together. Before you sandwich stuff. You paint it with that, and then you can only weld through the areas that are absolutely necessary, and the rest of it is coated. So I put some of that on after we gave it a good grinding with the die grinder. And what did we do before we did that? Use the rust converter this stuff. Put a layer of this on, because I know I didn't get all the rust. I got most of the rust. Next day, this is what we've cobbled together. And yeah, one stupid thing that I did is I kind of forgot a detail, and all 5 of these holes are totally unnecessary, and they don't go anywhere. They just go straight into the car because I removed the rustiness that they used to attach to. So I think to cover these, instead of trying to plug weld all of these, I'm going to use my rubber plug things. So we just laid a second pass on top of our first pass. That's a lot cleaner. That was a very hot, very large weld bead, and we warped her good. I don't think it's enough to really be a problem. It's interesting. So we've gotten a little bit further. Welded a couple things just at the very top, because those are the first things that need to fit in. And once I welded those, realized that this right here is kind of poor fitting. It wants to spring inwards. So what I just did, and I wish I had recorded it, but it was really fidgety and awkward, is I had my buddy come over and put his foot here, because it was it's steel, and it really didn't want to be there. And I had him hold his foot against it while I drilled that hole for that rivet. And we did not drill any holes through his foot. So now those are riveted in place. And because of the way that things are, everything shifted that way a little bit whenever I made that flush. So to make that flush, we made all of these the remaining bits, like those little stubs from all of the spot welds, I had to go back there and very awkwardly shave those down using the die grinder, like behind here before I had it properly clamped. So these are all now flush and flat for the most part, because if I didn't do that, we'd have a gap here that's like 2 or 3 millimeters, and that's no bueno. So now we do not have a gap, but you can see how much it shifted over. This used to be centered, now it's not, but it's still going to do the same job, just not exactly how I imagined it. Another one. Oh buddy, what the fuck am I doing with all this sanding and Bondo and shit? This is all you gotta do, my guy. That's all you gotta do. Holy shit. Alright, we're just about ready to seam seal some things. Weld through primer's pretty cool, man. I like it. And yeah, these are not the prettiest ever. But you know what you're not gonna do? See this. After that, I got my radio in the mail, which is now nice and installed. So this is Giles from the future, and I'm going to cut to Giles from the past, and he's going to tell you how painful that was, figuring out how to wire it in. G'day, Internet. The theme for today's video is the stereo. I got a stereo singled-in head unit thing for it that has Bluetooth and wasn't too expensive and was brand name, and the depth of it, it's not very deep, which is rather convenient for this install. And I have it wired in as much as I could with my current abilities, and I'll explain that in a minute. This car appears to have some interesting wiring issues. Not that interesting. It's not like this thing has total electrical gremlins. Pretty much everything works on the RX7, which is awesome. But I can't find a constant 12-volt source behind the radio. I can't. There's supposed to be. There are supposed to be constant sources going into the radio area, which is G here in the wiring diagram. And something ain't right. Something ain't right. The way that I figured out what wires to use was kind of primitive. I just used the voltmeter and figured out with trial and error, like what was ignition, what was ground, and what wasn't constant 12-volt battery. So what I can do right now is test the stereo, because I have the battery input and the ignition input on the radio. Both are accessory. They're both connected to accessory. So that means it's going to forget everything every single time I turn the radio on, which is not the end of the world, but we're going to strive for better than that. So it hooks up to my phone all right. See, it thinks it's 12. My phone's dying, and it tells me that, which is kind of cool. So we're very close to having this working. I have all the speakers wired up. That one doesn't work for some reason. That's something we're going to have to look into, but we need to figure this out first. If I really, really can't figure it out, we can run a battery through the firewall from the battery, but like, it really shouldn't have to come to that. So, other random things that I'm going to mention that are clues on this journey, this mission. There was a blown fuse. Can I point out, can you see what's going on down here? Not at all. Where's my light? this 15 amp fuse was blown. I replaced it with one that happened to be here last night. It didn't really seem to change much of the behavior of anything. And there is an open fuse slot that I think is supposed to have a fuse in there. And I temporarily put that 15 ampere in there for a second, and the car started buzzing. And I think that might be because either it's about to explode, or the door is open and I have ignition on. So I wonder if I put a fuse in there, if it will stop beeping if I close the door, and if that will fix this, anything about this. Alright, so listen to what happens whenever I put this fuse in there. Hear that? So I did a quick Google, and the first result said that it might be the oscillator, and that it's kind of a useless thing and that you can unplug it. Nothing ever went wrong blindly trusting the internet. Oh, that's disgusting. That is a supremely disgusting connector. Yeet. Now there's no way that unplugging that thing behind the front light is gonna make this not buzz. I'm just not buying it. Nope, still beeps. Knew it. Alright, so the thing that won't shut up is this thing. I don't exactly know what it is, but it's talking about turn signals and hazards and stuff like that. I'm not sure if this is the ECU. This is one of two electrical boxes that are down there. I don't think this actually fixes our stereo problem, but I did notice that none of the dome lights work without that fuse in there. So this is a problem that I'd like to overcome. So I need to figure out what makes this buzz. It is like an intentional buzzer. It is definitely a warning thing that's going off. It's messed up that it goes off when the car is not even on. Okay, we figured it out. So right now it is beeping, and if I do that, it continues to beep. Pretend to close this door. Where's the thing? Stops. We can like play a song with it. And also it stops if you take the keys out. So that's interesting. So, interjection. In my defense, in figuring this out, it was made extra complicated by the extra confusing by the fact that this ignition, I think, is a little bit dingest. In the sense that, let's see if I can make it do some weird stuff. So it's beeping now, it won't shut up because the door is open, right? Okay. It stopped when I took the keys out. Now I'm going to put it back into accessory, pull it back down. There. I had it doing that. So I was thinking, like, how do you make it ever stop this if you're, like, out of the car? Like, so I assume it'll stop if I close the door. Wow, no. What the heck? Is this door closed properly? No, the door's not closed properly. But still, I think my ignition is a little bit messed up. So I can make it stop just by doing a little... So, that's interesting. Another thing is I really want to be able to listen to music while working on the car, because we got a lot more working on the car to do. So, I was not wanting to listen to this friggin' beeping if I have the stereo on. So, I knew that I had done it once. I somehow got it into a state where it was not beeping, the doors were open, and the stereo was on. So I figured out how to do it, and it's absolutely hilarious. So if I put it into accessory, it beeps. and the radio goes on. So, let's see. If I pull it back until it stops beeping. Yeah, the stereo went off before the beeping stopped. Because the beeping's never going to stop. But if we put it in from the beginning, and we very slowly move up, and as soon as we hear a beep, we back off just a little bit, we can listen to music without listening to the beeping. Let's see it. You have no idea how long that took to figure out. Anyway, back to where we were. So it's just a thing that's beeping. I didn't need to rip all that stuff out, but that's how we figured it out. All right, cool. So now we got dome lights. We didn't have that before. I didn't even try these to know that they were not working. But we got dome. This thing's kind of neat. Look at that. That's a quirk and/or feature right there. You push it over to the side and it sort of works. And then you put it in the middle and it turns off. Interesting. Alright. Where does that bring us now? Do we have constant 12 volt in here? I kind of doubt it. Alright, we got this in the bag. This one is constant 12 volt. And you can tell that the previous install was done using this wire, and I had ignored it up until this point because there was nothing here. But now there's stuff here. Yay. And then after that, we sort of started cutting away some of the floor here. It's a little bit opened up compared to what you would have seen before. Up here's, I'm barely started picking away at that. Here, a little bit more figured out. And then back here is where we are currently working. I'm just kind of dashing all over the place, doing whatever bores me the least. So right here, I should really get my light out, but right here, yeah, you can see my section. So this is me. Cut this section out, butt welded new metal in. There's another piece on the other side that you're not going to be able to see right now because it's too dark. And painted it. Well, I primed it, and then, well, I put filler, then I primed it, then I hit it with some of this stuff because this area right here is textured. Which is kind of interesting. This is from the factory, and I believe this is called chip guard or gravel guard. And that kind of makes it easier than like up here to reproduce because it doesn't need to be nice and flat. It's intentionally bumpy as shit. So I have just, I put one layer of this down this morning. It probably needs more coats of, sorry, not of this stuff. We're good for the gravel guard. We need to paint it the same color as the car. So the texture is obviously going to be a little bit weird, but this is pretty difficult part of the car to see, TBH. And once I'm done painting that, we're going to move on to the other minor items inside this wheel well, which are, well, this is actually kind of major. This, where this seam comes together is all blown out here, and down here we're going to need to do some major metallurgy to bring everything back to spec. And right here, we got a hole. We got a hole right there, so I'm going to cut some stuff out, weld some stuff in, bing bada boom, Bob's your auntie. Yeah, another thing worth mentioning is that we're going to have to do some clutch work. This is not the paint just flaking away on its own. That is because there was clutch fluid leaking from up there rather dramatically after I was pushing the clutch in with my foot for fun. And it just destroyed some of the paint. Not really that big of a deal. But yeah, I ordered a clutch master cylinder and release cylinder off of Rock Auto, so those are coming in, so that'll be a fun little project. And a cool thing, a very cool thing, so take a good look at how crappy these door cards are. Absolutely just trashed. Look at that gash. Just disgusting. Disgusting. Check it out, yo. We got some new door cards. We got some new door cards and some B-pillar trims that match. Friggin' look at these. They are not perfect because they are used. Mazda's not making these today. They need to be pulled back. I need to hit these with the heat gun and do a little bit of stretching and gluing and a little bit of stuff at the top here, but ultimately these are just perfect. They're off a much nicer car than mine, that's for sure. So you can see that over time, it's just kind of lost its tightness, which we will figure out a way to remedy that. And some very minor breaks up here. That's about it. Besides that, these are perfect. And yeah, absolutely love them. This is the same interior carpeting that my dad's RX7 had. The one that I'm very nostalgic about, and probably the reason that I'm working on this car right now. So this was a very cool find. Wasn't exactly cheap, but probably cheaper than getting my door cards reupholstered professionally, because that's the sort of thing that I would not do a good job of. So with that, I think that is all of the footage that I have in the backlog for you. So until next time, thank you for watching. Take it easy.